Good morning.
Morning.
As Andrea said, my name is Corey Valencia, and I am a disability consultant and motivational speaker in Las Cruces, New Mexico. At first, I would like to thank LULAC El Paso and my dear friend, Andrea Aguirre, for inviting me to speak in front of you today. Like Andrea said, I've known her since we were freshmen at New Mexico State University. She's always supported me in every kind of endeavor that I undertake. So when I started doing motivational speaking, she's always supported me in that. This proves that. And so I'm very honored she asked me to speak in front of you today. However, I must admit, when Andrea asked me to be the speaker, to be a speaker here today, my first thought when she asked me was, how do I fit in? How am I going to fit in? But this has been a common theme in my life. It isn't that I didn't have friends or social groups to be around when I was a kid. However, there were always individuals that treated me differently because I had a disability. As a child, I wasn't consciously aware of it. But as I grew older, I realized of just how much the opinions of others, both positive and negative, affected my life. We don't realize it, but how others treat us greatly affects how we see ourselves. I'm not saying that the opinions of others are so powerful that it absolves us from the responsibility that each of us has to live our own lives. What I mean is that even the smallest comment can have a great effect on the world around us. I was born in 1981 in Honolulu, Hawaii. My birth did not come with the best of circumstances. I was born with spina bifida, which means that my spine did not fully form, leaving me paralyzed from the waist down and using a wheelchair. As you can imagine, this was not at all the news my parents expected. My mother turned to the one place she felt could give her answers, her faith. When she asked the priest at the hospital why this happened, he answered, "You are a sinner, he is a sinner, and this is your punishment." Sorry, that usually never gets a reaction, right? Usually there's just utter silence. I've never actually heard people go. But let me repeat that just for emphasis. You are a sinner, he is a sinner, and this is your punishment. Now, my family could have let this comment shape how I was raised, but as my mother has said to me before, she may not have known a lot of things at the time, but she knew that wasn't true. No God of hers would make an innocent baby punishment. That comment would still have an effect on my life, though. I didn't realize it until much later that the message I received, both energetically at the time and unconsciously in the retelling of this story later in my life, that the message I got, that I was, not only was I a burden to my family, but also a disappointment because I didn't come in the package that they were expecting. Or that most parents expect. We expect our babies to be healthy. You don't expect this. Now, when talking to disability groups, I speak of the shackles that hold us down and prevent us becoming the complete beings that we all have the capability and capacity to be. In preparing for this speech, I began to think about how the shackles of disability, as I call them, not only affects the lives of individuals with disabilities, but also individuals that have never experienced disability before. Issues like poverty, access to employment, education, healthcare, overcoming false labels, and yes, even immigration, are things that affect us all. How they shackle and impede our progress, though, may be different, but the solutions we apply to them are not so dissimilar. In our current society, I feel we give a lot of good lip service to celebrating our differences. But what we really do, what really happens, is that we call attention to them and view them in a very limited lens. We put them in categories like right or wrong, black or white, Republican or Democrat, women's issue or men's issue, science or God, etc. There's a plethora of examples I can give you. And we do this with no room for compromise or balance. Now, when I was thinking about this phenomenon, Sesame Street came to mind. Does everybody remember Sesame Street? Specifically, I thought of the old sketch on the show that sang, "One of these things is not like the other. One of these things just doesn't belong." Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that Sesame Street has some ulterior motive and then they are teaching social discord. That would just be crazy. I love Sesame Street. You can ask Andrea. I love the Muppets and Sesame Street, but that just came to mind. What I am saying, though, is that even as children, we are taught to distinguish what is the same and what is different in our world. Now, we do this as a way to make enough sense of the world so that we can at least function in it. It becomes a danger, though, and a true impediment when we limit our vision so much that we forget the possibilities in life and cannot find balance. Which brings me to the theme at the heart of the gathering today. Body, mind, spirit. The idea of the connection between our physical, mental, and spiritual faculties is all about balance. It's all about finding balance. We cannot access our full potential without balancing these processes and making them work in unison with our universal self to achieve what our human perception may see as impossible. As the Dalai Lama said, we can never obtain peace in the world until we make peace with ourselves. Meaning that if we truly want to affect the world positively, we must first learn to find peace in ourselves, and that comes with balancing the body, the mind, and the spirit. For those of you that may not necessarily believe in the spiritual or God, let me put that aspect in a different way. The spirit is the impulse that drives us to believe that there is more to life and the universe than our physical senses or our brains can perceive. It is what drives us to create, to think outside the box, and to believe in things that may be impossible, whether it be that there's life on other planets, or that everyone can have flying cars. Personally, I'm waiting for the car that will drive itself because I can't drive. The point is, the spirit impulse provides us with the opportunity to use our minds and bodies to find the answers to questions previously thought unanswerable. But how do we begin to find balance? The answer is different for all of us. For some, it is meditation. For others, it is engaging in an activity that sparks our creativity, such as art, writing, reading, music, or engaging in a mentally challenging exercise like a puzzle or a crossword. However we do it, the idea is to access parts of your being that are not normally accessed. In my life, much of what I have learned about how to balance these things was from my mother. Whether it was color therapy or healing touch to assist in the healing process from a major surgery, or learning how to process my emotions so I'm not burdened by negative thoughts as they have the potential to prevent me from accessing the opportunities that the universe provides to me. What is important to remember, though, is that this is a process that it never stops. There's no magic button. There's no trick or technique that will allow us to stop working, to stop living, To stop being and just be content with existing. And that is what is really exciting to me. I take comfort in knowing that the process is ever evolving and shifting along with our world and everything in it. For if everything is in constant movement, it makes it that much harder to be shackled down by either societal influences or the perceived imperfections we may have about ourselves. With that in mind, I encourage you to use this conference as a way to not only access your own body, mind, spirit connection, but to connect on a deeper level with those around you. Acknowledge the differences you have, but connect to the similarities, because they are there. When we do that, we can begin the work of affecting the world for the better. I would like to end with a quote by Esther Hicks, which I feel touches on the evolving nature I spoke of, in that if we truly want to, we have the ability to change not only what we think and feel, but what we believe. And it goes like this. A belief is only a thought you continue to think. A belief is nothing more than a chronic pattern of thought. And you have the ability, if you try even a little bit, to begin a new pattern, to tell a new story, to achieve a different vibration, to change your point of attraction. Thank you.